First up, an arms race is heating up on the Korean peninsula as the North and South conducted dueling missile tests just hours apart. Now let's bring in the country many others want to keep the closest eye on. That's China. The US expressed concern this week over reports Beijing tested a hypersonic nuclear missile. When a former military court judge Fadi Sawan was appointed to lead the investigation, many doubted he had the backbone to confront Lebanon's powerful political establishment. Critics say it was hijacked by an anti-Israel agenda that turned into an anti-Semitic crusade. Two men, once in line to the throne, are now under threat of life imprisonment or execution for treason. The findings detail an extraordinary family saga spanning 20 years. The outbreak started as a few cases of pneumonia among workers at a fish market in central China about a month ago. The WHO says that undermines vaccine confidence and complicates global efforts to restart travel. Much of the world is entering a post-lockdown business boom and trying to recover their economies from the pandemic. Now, Chancellor Angela Merkel released a rare video over the weekend pleading with the unvaccinated. The world's richest nations, responsible for 75% of greenhouse emissions, aren't even sticking to conservative pledges, so we are barreling towards 1.5 degrees. So they sound like big pledges, but will they be kept? And is it nearly enough to prevent a climate catastrophe? If the city falls, it will be the first provincial capital seized by the Taliban while the US troops are withdrawing. Now, as the Taliban aggressively advances, a mass exodus is unfolding. We can't say the city is completely controlled by the Taliban just yet, but a senior lawmaker has told the AFP news agency Ghazni has fallen. Those who made it through the chaos in Kabul have begun touching down around the world. The Taliban has announced women in Afghanistan will only be allowed to study in segregated classrooms, sparking fears of a gender apartheid. The former security advisor also says there were some glaring gaps in the president's knowledge of international relations. The West Bank is essentially two nations woven into one another, Jews and Arabs living side by side, but not together or equal. There's also criticism when the award is handed out on expectation or hope rather than achievement. The 63-year-old is often called boring, but he's tried to recently reinvent himself as a man of action. Now, some activists say his conviction will not only determine the Me Too movement's future, but because the case hung on the testimony of two fallible women, each with their own complicated sexual relationship with Weinstein, and with cases that prosecutors are usually hesitant to take to trial, Weinstein's conviction could mark a new era of legal justice.